The UFC's welterweight division is on absolute fire right now, and we have a brand new champion. His name is Islam Makhachev, but can he become a three-weight champion in the near distant future? Hello everybody and welcome to Against the Fence, where this is the place to be if you are obsessed and passionate about the sport of MMA and the UFC. So hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notifications bell as well, because we'll be bringing you lots of content in the upcoming weeks. We've got three more events left on the UFC calendar, and they're going to come thick and fast before a three-week break for Christmas. So yeah, lots coming your way, and lots to talk about tonight, guys. Lots to talk about. We will talk about, let's bring up some, wrong ones, some talking points then. I mean, this is only just a few of them. We're literally looking at, that three-weight champion. We'll talk about whether or not Islam Makhachev can do that or not. We'll talk about some of the fights that can shake up the welterweight division, because three big welterweight fights happened on the main card this past weekend at UFC 322, and there's lots to dissect and go over, plan who's going to be next for both winners and losers. We've got the women's GOAT debate at the moment, which has crept in. We'll talk about whether or not, who is it? Is it Amanda Nunes? Is it Valentina Shevchenko, and why, etc.? We'll talk about a huge update on Conor McGregor's return, which came out yesterday, so that's quite exciting. And then I've got some other things we'll go over as well. We'll talk about the brawl that happened at UFC 322. And then I've got something a little extra in there as well, which is not a lot, which is quite funny, but not UFC 322 related. So make sure you got the notifications bell. It's not a notification bell. Hit a like on the video, and let's get into some of the drama and make some future fights happen, shall we? Yes, George says, evening, Mandem, how's things? Sorry, I wasn't storing Saturday. Got a trapped nerve in my neck so bad I can't move my left arm. Oh, mate. Carpentry life. Oh, damn. George, I was going to say, did you want to come to London this weekend for this early fight card that's happening in Qatar? But that sounds painful, my man. Hope you're resting up, and hopefully you've. What did you make of this past weekend's event? And I'm excited to hear some of your takes as well on all the events that happened. So welcome on in. Only real prelim. That head kick from Bo Nickel, man, to kick things off. I mean, just before the main card. That was, no one saw that coming. He looked sharp in that fight. From what I saw of it, I mean, we were setting up at the time that fight was on. But man, he looked incredible. Gregory Rodriguez getting decision win against Roman Kopylov. He looked pretty good. 30-27 on two of the judges' scorecards. Didn't see Erin Blanchfield's submission of Tracy Cortez, but wasn't really surprised at that outcome at all. And I didn't see the fight of the night, which I think was fight of the night, the Ethwin Ewig fight against Malcolm Wellmaker. Wellmaker was quite a... He's starting to be a bit of a fan favourite, I think. And no fight of the night bonus was awarded. Why was that? I thought that picked up fight of the night. But apparently it was a really good fight. Performance of the bonus went to Marco Morales, Carlos Prates, Benoit Saint-Denis, and Bo Nickel. So they decided to give out 4 performance of the night bonuses and not do a fight of the night bonus. Interesting. Okay. George Murray says, can't this weekend, sir. I'm out of the following week for a work do. Can't keep asking for a free pass every weekend. Damn, bro's locked up. That's family life, isn't it? Family life. That's unfortunate. Hopefully we can do one some point down the line. We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen, sir. I promise. Certainly promise. Right. Let's kick things off by talking about the first fight on the main card. Oh, I've gone to the wrong one. First fight on the main card, which was between Benoit Saint-Denis and Beneil Dariush. And there isn't really much to say about this fight. It happened so quick. First 16 seconds of the fight, Benoit Saint-Denis moves 3 fights and 3 finishes this year now. So he's had a cracking year. Exciting to see whether or not he makes some of our ones to watch lists at the end of the year. He could make an appearance in mine. He might make an appearance in Ashley Allsize. So, yeah, that'd be quite exciting to see. His power was on full display with that one shot that he landed the whole time to put Beneil Dariush out. I'm just kind of wondering whether Beneil Dariush will take even more time off now after getting smoked in that 16 seconds. It was very unfortunate because, like, I actually picked Beneil Dariush to win because I thought his performance against Renato Moicano was insane. And I was like, okay. And I felt that Benoit Saint-Denis lately has just been kind of taking guys down, grinding them out, and just being a bit of a force to be reckoned with. And I felt that if he tried it with Beneil Dariush, then Dariush would probably attack submissions off his back and probably give Saint-Denis a hard time. And maybe disrupt his striking rhythm a little bit by shooting for takedowns, but we didn't really get to see that at all in this fight. But what's next for Benoit Saint-Denis, though? Oh, and Beneil Dariush. I've got 2 for Beneil Dariush because surely Benoit Saint-Denis will want to return early 2026 after that. George Murray says carpentry influencer meetup. Don't know why I was invited. Oh, wow. No way. Okay, so there's more carpentry influencers out there. I never knew that. It's I mean, obviously across your channels and social feeds, you must get that quite a lot. Mine not so much, unfortunately. So yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Yeah, what is next for Benoit Saint-Denis? It's got to be Mateusz Gamrot for me. And I'm going to tell you why. It's a super intriguing fight because Gamrot has never been knocked out. His wrestling skills could be problematic for Benoit Saint-Denis, and Benoit Saint-Denis will be forced to outstrike Gamrot on the feet. So that's why that fight is super intriguing. Can Saint-Denis do exactly the same to Beneil Dariush? No, exactly the same to Gamrot as he did to Beneil Dariush. Doesn't look so likely. Gamrot, I think, has been on the hard end of a few decisions in his lightweight career. I have often said that I felt that he should move down in weight. And also, yeah, guys, hit that poll whether you think Makhachev will be a 3-division champion, because we'll get into that a little bit later as well. So, yeah, that's my one pick for Saint-Denis. If we head into the lightweight rankings then, damn, Beneil Dariush moved down 3 spots. Chandler's actually moved up. That's quite funny. He's in now at 12, whereas Saint-Denis moves up to 8th. And that's the highest he's actually been, I think, since being in the UFC. And it's purely because I think he was just outside top 10, or he was in at number 10 when he fought Dustin Poirier. The UFC tried to give him a bit of a big jump up, and he got shut down big time in that fight. So, yeah, he moves up to 8th, 1 spot below Gamrot. It only really makes sense, to be honest. Gamrot is currently coming off of a loss to Charles Oliveira, so he needs to be fighting down. If he's not ready to fight Saint-Denis, then he would have to fight someone else who's coming up. This page of mine needs updating. Someone like a Grant Dawson, you know. Oh, actually, they did train at the same camp, didn't they? So it wouldn't be Grant Dawson. It'd be like a Mauricio Rufy. Someone like that. As for Beneil Dariush, though, no signs of retiring yet. There might be some more left in this old dog. I say old dog. How old is he? I swear I check this every time because it feels like looks a lot older than he is. He's 36. Okay, so that's not too bad. There's probably a little bit more life left in him. But if you're going to give him some fights, it's either got to be Grant Dawson, who's a wrestler with submission skills as well. He doesn't have one-punch knockout power, so he'll be fine there. And he isn't known for I mean, most of his knockout wins are ground and pound stoppages. So I think it makes sense. And Grant Dawson, 3-fight win streak as well. I mean, 23 wins and 2 losses with 1 draw / no contest. And yeah, the UFC haven't really given him a lot of opportunities to get pushed. Like, his last fight he lost was against Bobby Green in 2023. The fight win streak that he's been on is against Joe Solecki, Rafa Garcia, who's quite old, Carlos Diego Ferreira, who's also quite old. So Mark Madsen, he's got a win under, quite old. So, like, Grant Dawson, I guess, give him another oldie in Beneil Dariush. I mean, I would like to see him against a younger person, if I'm honest, but I think stylistically, that fight kind of makes a bit of sense. The other option that I've got for Beneil Dariush would be Mauricio Rufy. The UFC loves the fighting nerds, and so I think they'll give him another opportunity to prove himself against a ranked opponent. You know, he had a bit of a jump in fighting Benoit Saint-Denis in Paris. Wasn't a great outing for him that night. He's only 12-2 as a professional. And usually, if the UFC see some star quality in guys, they tend to give them some older heads to make a name off of themselves. And I think Mauricio Rufy getting a highlight reel knockout against Beneil Dariush raises his stocks again. So that's the reason why I put that fight in there. And look, it's the UFC. Anything can happen. They could very well do that. I wouldn't be surprised. But swiftly moving on then. Welcome on in, folks. Let's talk about then the second fight on the main card, which wasn't the way that a lot of Brits wanted it to go. Where Carlos Prates knocked out Leon Edwards in the second round. It was a rough first round for him, though. Edwards was executing his game plan perfectly by disrupting Prates' rhythm and forcing him to grapple. But Prates found his timing in that second round. He started landing the jab over and over again, trying to connect with the right hand, and then eventually he put Edwards to sleep. And Edwards was gazing up at the stars, and it almost looked like he had a smile on his face as well. Glad to see Leon Edwards go that way. It's his third loss in a row. One by submission, one by knockout, and of course the first one was the title defense against Belal Muhammad. This is looking like the same downfall as Tyron Woodley, and that's something that I mentioned in the breakdown show leading into UFC 322. It's a similar story. Like, Woodley was the same. He lost it against Kamaru Usman. Never looked the same since. And maybe that is due to confidence levels. Woodley was a little bit unlucky after the Usman fight because he got injured in the Colby Covington fight. I think he broke his rib or cracked his rib or something. So that led to a TKO. And then after that, he lost against Vicente Luque, and Luque just put him on blast and just mauled him. Not just mauled him, he just beat him pillar to post. And we're kind of seeing that with Leon Edwards at the moment. Now, I did read something on X earlier that was saying that he'd be open to misfits, and I mean, that is kind of almost like where your career is going right now, and it's very sad to see. It really is. You know, he's just going to follow the same path as Darren Till. Could he make some money doing that still? Absolutely. And will people still follow him and enjoy watching him fight? Maybe. But hopefully that's not yet. I don't know how many fights he's got left on his current UFC deal. But if he is contemplating a way out, the UFC will do him dirty. They will start giving him wrestlers, people that are just going to maul him, embarrass him, or knock him clean out. like Prates did, because that's what they do. They tried to do it with Nate Diaz. They knew Nate Diaz was jumping ship, so they decided to try and give him Khamzat Chimaev. Now, of course, the fight fell through the week of, but that's what the UFC wanted to do. 3 fights ago, he was world champ with terrible custom shorts, says George Merry. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy how quick things work and how quick things just fall apart, isn't it? Yeah, man. Look, it was an exciting run. When are we going to see him return is a bit of the ultimate question, really. Will it be in March for the London? I said during the watch along, I feel like the UFC would make a big risk putting Edwards in to headline an event in March in London, especially of how the Sean Brady fight went. So if you're going to bring Edwards to the UK again, it would have to be on a pay-per-view event. Maybe third on the main card, co-main if it's just a watered-down pay-per-view, and Tom Aspinall would be headlining against Cyril Gane. That would be my best case scenario. But I guess the ultimate question is, what is next now for these winners and losers if we go into the rankings? Now, I must add, none of these upcoming welterweight matchups that I'm suggesting are my preferred option. I'm exploring all options because there was a lot gone on this past weekend and it could go either way. So I'm going to chuck out a few and my reasons for them, but I will be going sort of back and forth throughout the show. Looking at the rankings, Prates moves up 4 spots. Michael Morales moves up 5. As anticipated, he falls in. Actually, to be fair, I thought he was going to be in there at number 4. But instead, he's above Shavkat, which I find very interesting. Carlos Prates somehow has made it above Ian Machado Gary, even though literally, when was it? Was it this year he lost to him? Yeah, he was back in April. So they've done something wrong there, big time. I mean, look, Ian Machado Gary hasn't fought since. And, of course, he's fighting this weekend against Bilal Muhammad. So he gets the opportunity to climb above him again. So, which is fair. All right, just give Prates his flowers now, right? Sean Brady moves down to 7th. Usman down to 8th. Edwards down to 9th. That's a big fall for him. But, yeah, matchup-wise, Carlos Prates starting things off. Could it be Sean Brady? I think Prates getting paired against a wrestler is going to happen at some point. Not the most ideal option for him, and I can't see the UFC dishing that one out. But hey, they did it to Michael Morales and he passed the test. So I guess it depends on timing. When Brady wants to get back in there, if he finds this week that he's a bit stubborn, he's a bit kind of heartbroken from the loss, he might try and get straight back in there, but probably not a good idea, right? George says, doing Izzy take some proper time off. I think he's referring to Edwards. Yeah, I agree with that. Shavkat is injured for another 6 to 9 months. Are you for real? Where has this guy gone? This guy's just disappeared off the face of the earth. How is Crybaby Covington still ranked? That's another question as well we could get into, George. Because this guy fights once a year, right? How on earth today, Kai Kara France got pulled from the flyweight rankings and no one knows why. My guess is because, and they've done it before, if you refuse 3 fights that the UFC offer you within a calendar year, they will remove you from the rankings. But how is Colby Covington still in there? Because surely, how have you not want to put him in and make a fight for him in this past year? He's not injured. He's doing TikTok videos and dancing with influencers or whatever he's doing at the moment, squaring off with them. So when was that Buckley fight? That was literally nearly a whole year ago. So if you're like, how have the UFC not offered him 3 fights in that time? It's absolutely disgusting. Like, get him out of there or give him someone like a Daniel Rodriguez. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I digress. That was a little rant. Quite a big rant, to be fair. Other option for Carlos Prates could very well be Jack Della Maddalena coming off of the loss against Islam Makhachev. If the UFC wants to continue to give Prates strikers, JDM is the next move in the welterweight division. Fans will be much more excited for this fight. I think it sparks a little bit more. I mean, he could fight Michael Morales, because that would also be an exciting one against a striker. But I've got some different ideas for Michael Morales because he is ranked quite high. Yeah, ran away, JK, says George. I mean, well, I'm not looking forward to when Ash clips that up tomorrow, to be fair. So, yeah, I mean, look, Jack Della Maddalena gives him a good opportunity to really get one back against a really tough, tall, rangy, powerful striker. Because look, Jack's fought not everyone in this division, but he's been tested a lot. He's fought strikers, he's fought grapplers, he's even fought a jiu-jitsu orientated fighter, and that was against Gilbert Burns. So yeah, man, I mean, look, he's not going to get a rematch against Islam Makhachev anytime soon, but he's going to have to keep plodding on if he wants to get back there. As for Leon Edwards, though, Ian Machado Gary, if he loses to Bilal this weekend, because there's still history between the two, why not? I've said it in previous aftermaths. I would like to see that fight get made. That would be ideal for March. Put that on a pay-per-view card. Gary would be fine with that, surely. It would make sense, even though he's based in Brazil now. He might as well change his flag from Ireland, because he probably not been there in time. Yeah, so you got Gary in at 8. Yeah. Well, Leon still gets the fight up. So it depends. Maybe, thinking of it now, maybe Ian Machado Gary wouldn't want to accept that fight. Maybe Leon would need to get a win before getting that fight. So maybe the least likely option. I think the most likely option would be Gabriel Bonfim. Fresh off of the knockout win against Randy Brown, it depends if Edwards takes extended time off after the loss. Bonfim, I think, will probably want to stay active in 2026 because he's on an absolute tear at the moment. He beat Wonderboy Thompson. He was an experienced fighter. I thought that should have been a Wonderboy win, personally. But the Randy Brown one really surprised me. I thought Randy Brown was going to beat him in that fight, and he didn't. And he proved himself. Did Bonfim. So yeah, I think Bonfim's going to want another experienced fighter shooting high in the rankings, in my opinion. George Murray says Spider-Man versus JDM. Make Prates defend the ranking against Usman. I like it. Islam versus Gary. Bilal versus Brady 2. Yeah, Bilal versus Brady 2, I like. Yeah, that could happen. I like those options, George. We'll get more onto Kamaru Usman. We'll talk about him in a bit. And Bilal perhaps as well. Size in the house has said, I'd be interesting to see a stat about how many ex-champs managed to reclaim their title after defeat. Yeah, I mean, there might be a fair few, really. That's a good one. That's one for ChatGPT. Yeah, no, I like that. Maybe we have to check that out. Heading on back then, let's talk about then the third fight on the main card, which was a bit of a surprising one. Didn't go the way I thought it was going to go, which was Michael Morales getting that win against Sean Brady. TKO in round 1. As far as the online memes go, is being a little zesty the new base for MMA? 19 wins, 14 by knockout. His physicality and reach caused Brady some problems in that fight. Brady only made one takedown attempt, and he just couldn't find the perfect opportunity to get the fight to the mat. I honestly thought that Brady was going to get it done pretty quick, going off of previous performance against Leon Edwards. I thought he was going to grind out Morales, make him struggle to get out of positions, wear him down, and then slowly sink in a submission later on in the fight, either round 2 or 3. And I said in the watch along as well, I felt that this was the fight for Michael Morales to take a loss, learn from, and come back better. However, this train is still rolling. This Ecuadorian Express is still steaming ahead, mate. Because look, he's in at number 3. Number 3 ahead of Shavkat Rakhmonov. That is insane. Like, both guys are on 19 wins and 0 losses. However, but Shavkat's got 90. Yeah, Shavkat's only won one by decision. And Morales has got 4 by decision. So, like, I mean, I don't get how he's ranked above Shavkat. Is it due to the fact that he's more active? Shavkat has had one fight. Well, he's not fought this year. That could probably be the reason. We've not seen him in nearly a whole year. Wow. He's literally missing. He fell off the face of the earth. Fought twice in 2023. Fought twice in 2022. Man, yeah, this guy needs to come crawling back. I guess, I mean, more to talk about later on in terms of who we want to see him fight next. His title shot has been long awaited, really, hasn't it? It just hasn't happened. It hasn't materialized. But yeah, back onto Michael Morales. I definitely want to see him in a big fight in 2026. How he didn't make my ones to watch for the year, I don't know. He just missed it, probably. But it's safe to say he could very well be in there heading into next year. George Murray says, Izzy, GSP, Poatan comes to mind, Si. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that is very true. That is very true. There's a couple. Cejudo. Oh, yeah. Tyron Woodley and JJ of people who haven't. Yes. Yeah. No, yeah. That's a good one. Yeah, or just fail to kind of, get back onto a winning run, should we say. I think that's another one. You probably find a lot less. But yeah, anyhow, back onto to things. What's next then for Michael Morales? The fight that I've actually got in mind would be the winner of Bilal Muhammad versus Machado Gary. That fight will be the next number 1 contender fight, but Usman could get picked ahead of Morales because it's been said by Islam Makhachev that he would like to fight Kamaru Usman. Now, when he said that this weekend, or in the build-up to the fight against Jack Della Maddalena, that wasn't Islam talking. That was Ali Abdelaziz talking. And we'll get into more of that in just a sec. For Sean Brady, however, the Pratis fight we mentioned earlier as a possibility, but then he also could fight Kamaru Usman because stylistically, it's a very intriguing fight for the fans. Both are very good wrestlers with great boxing fundamentals. It's a 50-50 pick'em fight. And it's ideal for betting fans out there as well. It's just a tough one to call. It really is. You got Usman's experience. All right, he's had his fair share of injuries, but then he hasn't been as active and he's allowed himself to recover quite well. The fact he gave Khamzat Chimaev a decent test on short notice at middleweight was very good. The way he shut down Joaquin Buckley, and Buckley was meant to get into the top 5. He looked promising to reach that way, but he shut him down completely for the majority of that fight. But yeah, I'd like to see it. I don't know what you guys think. Smash a like on the video if you haven't done so already. So yeah, we'll return to the welterweight division in just a sec, but let's head back then to talk about the co-main event between Valentina Shevchenko versus Zhang Weili. Weili was unfortunate. She happened to fight Shevchenko, who was on it this past weekend. All 3 judges scored it 50-45 in favour for the champion. And I gotta say, no one thought it was going to be this one-sided. Yes, I was wrong in the breakdown show. Did get clowned a little bit from the clips. I thought Zhang would be the one to initiate the wrestling and try to set up submissions. But Shevchenko showed that she's the stronger girl and size does matter. 11 wins for Valentina. 11 title wins for Valentina. 11 title wins for Amanda Nunes, who is the women's GOAT. Is something that's kind of been going around social media a little bit. I don't think it's really up for debate because Amanda Nunes has 2 wins against Shevchenko. Yes, you can go and then argue who fought tougher competition. I actually reckon it's still Amanda Nunes. For me, it's the featherweight title fight against Chris Cyborg is also another good reason. Because at the time, Chris Cyborg was an absolute killer, a feared woman for all of women's MMA. One point when Ronda Rousey was on the scene, dominating women, a lot of people thought that Chris Cyborg was going to be the super fight for her and the toughest fight for her, but of course we didn't get to see that. Amanda Nunes got that crack and she put her away in the first round, which was very surprising, very shocking, and yeah, it was probably one of the best women's wins of all time, I reckon. It's up there. So yeah, women's GOAT still stands at Amanda Nunes, in my opinion. Shevchenko will always be a close second, and I think it's going to be very hard for any woman to get any close to them in the near future. I think Zhang Weili sits in at number 3, personally, because she's proven herself that she can beat pretty much everyone at strawweight, bar Rose Namajunas, who could be in there as well. 2 belts over 1, says George. Nunes is the GOAT. Absolutely. Now, of course, there is also the argument that Amanda Nunes won a belt that was somewhat created for Chris Cyborg, because the UFC never created a proper featherweight division, but that's just due to the lack of women's featherweight fighters. Now, of course, if we get to see Amanda Nunes against Kayla Harrison, that could be another reason why Amanda Nunes, it would be mountains high than the competition. Because look, after all that time off, a bit of hiatus, you come in there and you beat Kayla Harrison, who's meant to be the much bigger, stronger fighter than you are. That would be just insane. That'd be so impressive. So that's where I sit with the whole women's GOAT debate. But let's get back on to matching up then these girls and take a look at the rankings. Zhang Weili actually sits in at number 2 in the women's flyweight division, which I'm quite surprised at. She's gone above. Oh no, Sai's got the wrong ranking in there. We got the wrong ranking up. Yeah, Zhang Weili still at number 2. In fact, let's get this up here. Can I get the window capture? Nope. Hang on. I could probably sort this. Nope. Bosch. Oh dear. Let's see if I can bring this into touch. Okay, there we go. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's the rankings at the moment. Paste that over the top there. Actually, let's bring that there. There we go. Hopefully you guys can see that. Let's click on then to women's flyweight. Yeah, no, she doesn't enter the flyweight division. But what's next? There's not really been any movements. I thought there would be. I guess it all depends on the fight in UFC 323 between Macy Barber and Karine Silva. But yeah, let's minimize that, shall we? Bosh. Ooh, I've lost some tabs. What am I doing? There we go. Okay, cool. We're back. Yeah, what is next then for Valentina Shevchenko? Personally, I think it's got to be Natalia Silva. It was a name that was mentioned in Shevchenko's post-fight interview. She's young and very talented taekwondo fighter. I would like to see Valentina get tested against her. I really would. She was in my ones to watch for this year. She's made a lot of strides. Just having a look at where she's come in terms of ranking. Because Tapology got a good new feature now. They tell you when she was ranked at particular fights, which is really good. Yeah, coming off of a win against Alexa Grasso, former champion as well, and she earned her stripes, really. She's earned that title fight next, in my opinion. She's on an absolute run. Undefeated in the UFC. I think, I think it's about time. I mean, look, she's not really like been putting people away. She last finish she got was in 2023 against Victoria Leonardo, punches and a head kick. But since then, she's just been decisioning girls. She's gonna be tough for Shevchenko, but I think she's also quite a small flyweight as well. So maybe Shevchenko can bully her a little bit on the ground. I think it's probably the obvious pick. Shevchenko will be a heavy favourite for sure. On the feet, though, if Shevchenko decides to keep it standing, Natalia Silva's quick. I think she can be in and out like a flash and really stun Shevchenko with a lot of strikes. So, yeah, that fight's super intriguing for me. Sai says, how is Weili second in strawweight now? She gave us the super fight we've all been asking for and gets penalised. Not right, in my opinion. I mean, didn't she just move down when Mackenzie Dern captured gold? Because she got stripped. And this is just the UFC being the UFC. They no longer want to do 2 division champions because they're desperate for title fights to make cards. That's why you have to be stripped of a belt if you're moving up. Yeah, there's no more holding 2 divisions at the same time anymore. Yes, Big Balls, good to see you. Hey, my man, welcome on in. Islam resume keeps getting better and better. Already surpassed Khabib. Good point. Yeah, I kind of agree with that, my man. I kind of agree with that. We've got a lot to talk about Islam Makhachev coming right up. Sai says, yeah, but she should be number 1, not number 2. Yeah, I guess so. Let's have a look at that again. Yeah, why is Tatiana Suarez? Yeah, why is Tatiana Suarez in at number 1? I mean, I think there's a reason for that. And it's probably... I don't know, but Suarez needs to fight, doesn't she? Oh, no, she beat Joanna Lemos. Yeah, the reason for that, though, is pretty clear, I reckon. Because the UFC really want to do Dern versus Suarez. Suarez being the number 1 fighter in the division just helps sell the fight. That's what that is. Big Boy says, what do you think of Kayla versus Val? Oof. I think that's steep, if I'm honest. I can't see that happening. I mean, look, Shevchenko would have to put on quite a bit of muscle mass. That's if you're talking about Kayla Harrison beating Amanda Nunes, because look, that's the fight to make next, really, isn't it? And then you give Val the opportunity. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, look, at bantamweight, it could be possible. I like your thinking, though. It's not one that I've thought about. Because I guess a lot of us will think that Nunes beats Harrison and gets the bantamweight belt again. But then I think that Nunes, if she wins, she's not going to keep it, though. She retires. Nothing else for her. Check it. She moved below. Yeah, I know it's it. Yeah, he's cheeky. Whaley's one of the best to ever do it. Yeah, no, she's my third women's GOAT in the list, in my opinion. I put her at 3. But as for Zhang Weili, should she stay at flyweight or move back down to strawweight, where she's actually ranked? There isn't really much for her at strawweight, I think. You know, another opportunity for the belt could appear if Shevchenko chooses to retire. Shevchenko is 37 at the moment, and maybe she should retire on top before the sport retires her. You know, I think fighting a young prospect like Natalia Silva, I mean, she's probably not a prospect now, but you know what I mean, could be her kryptonite. She might just have an off night that night, and then it's like, does she get an immediate rematch after that? Well, it's possible. So personally, I think Zhang Weili should stick around at flyweight. I think there's opportunities there for her. Some exciting fights that we would love to see. One being Alexa Grasso as an option. It's a battle of the nicest female fighter belt, if you were to make a belt. Grasso should probably fight Furo, though. So that's probably my least likely option. The other option for Zhang could be Erin Blanchfield. If Blanchfield beats Zhang, it could put her into the title picture, despite losing to Manon Fiorot not too long ago. For Zhang, it gives her a rightful place in this rankings. Really, in at number 5 there. Sorry, I can't see it on this one. Yeah, in the top 5. It's either that or you do Manon Fiorot against Zhang Weili. But then I feel that Fiorot, timing-wise, that fight might not make sense. And the UFC might just decide to do Fiorot versus Grasso because it's not been done. I don't know what you guys think about that one. Weili needs to go back and get her belt back from Dern, says Big Balls. So Big Balls would rather see that. Yeah, I mean, Dern, it's a fight that she's not had yet. Props. But then at the same time, I swear Mackenzie Dern came out in an interview and said that if she was offered the fight against Weili Zhang, she would turn it down because she feels that she's not ready for it yet. And I think fight fans would probably feel that as well. Don't get me wrong, hard fought battle against Werner Jan Jaroba, but Jan Jaroba is nowhere near as good as Zhang Weili. So, and I think Zhang Weili, when you look at Mackenzie Dern's previous losses against good strikers in the division, power punchers like a Jessica Andrade, losses against, she lost against Marina Rodriguez a long time ago, technical striker on the feet, lost against Amanda Lemos. Lemos just pieced her up. Good fight though. Yan Janan beat her, majority decision, another striker. So it's kind of written on the wall in that fight, and it's not like Mackenzie's constantly submitting girls in the division. That's kind of what we expected to see. Okay, she submitted Amanda Ribas, but that was her first submission, or it was January this year, first submission since 2021, which was 8 fights before that. So, like, if Madone was constantly winning by submission over and over and over again, then she would be a superstar right now. And the fight against Zhang Weili probably would have already happened, and it would have been really exciting to see. But we just need to see more from Mackenzie Dern, really. I know I'm being harsh on her, and I really like Mackenzie Dern. She's 32 years old, still got time to develop and learn. So yeah, I mean, it depends what the UFC decide to do. I kind of want to see Furo and Val rematch. Really interesting. Yeah, rewatching that fight. The first round was quite competitive, but I felt that Val was in the driving seat the whole time. Maybe some slight adjustments from Furo can make it a much more competitive fight. But then look, Val is constantly like adapting every time, and the Grasso fights are evidence of that. Even in the draw, even the third fight, she took a lot of the things that she did well, or so she didn't do so well in the draw, and she made the adjustments to beat Grasso in near enough every single round in the trilogy. Excuse me. So, yeah, Val's gonna be tough to beat, I think. Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't mind seeing her retire. It's a matter of time. All right, awesome stuff. Smash a like on the video. We got lots coming your way. We will talk about now the main event, and also we'll talk about an update on Conor McGregor's situation and when he's going to return. We'll talk about the brawl that happened at UFC 322, and then I've got something bonus as well that's kind of a little bit funny, which is aside from UFC 322. So stick around, and we got a few more bits coming your way. John Pork, says George Murray. I still don't know. I still don't get where the name John Pork came from. If I'm honest, I'm a bit out of the loop on that one. But Islam Makhachev in the main event becomes a 2-division champion by defeating Jack Della Maddalena via decision. All 3 judges, 4 if you want to include us as well, scored it 50-45 in what was a very dominant performance from him. He handled JDM's pressure very well, and it wasn't long until he had JDM worried about the takedown. Really, I mean, there was a bit of a stand-up affair early into round 1, but as soon as he grabbed that leg, that was it. And this is what we said heading into this fight. Unlike Bilal Muhammad, Islam Makhachev can take you down wherever the fight is in the octagon. All he needs to do is snap a single leg. If he takes you down via body lock, he can do that as well. He's got it all. Now, like Chimaev, he did receive some criticism after the fight. People felt it was a bit boring. But personally, I think that came down to just Jack Della Maddalena having to constantly defend over and over again. Like, defend the positions that Makhachev was trying to advance to, and any potential submission threat as well. And the same happened with Dricus du Plessis. So it's sort of like, well, how do you deal with this style? Just plain and simple. You got to knock him out dead in the first strike you land, because it's just relentless and it's very draining, cardiotaxing. You saw the images of Jack's face during the fight or in between rounds. Like, he was kind of grimacing. Maybe he could have been injured during the fight. We posted our reaction to that on social media and on YouTube, etc. And it kind of got a little bit of backlash from people. People were saying that we were a little bit disrespectful towards JDM because we were laughing at his face for looking like he was crying. But look, guys, we mean well. We like to have a little laugh and a joke from time to time. Look, Jack Della Maddalena is one of my favourite fighters to watch. But just lighten up, guys. Lighten up. Go outside and touch grass, okay? Because we can have a laugh from time to time. It's fine. It's okay. It's acceptable. Look, I'm not the type of person who's gonna like clown people online or things like that and call people bums and tell them they're washed, etc. And that their fight was shit. I'm not going to say that. Like, I'm just not. Like, I felt that Jack had an all right performance. Yeah, okay, he wasn't good offensively, but if you look at it as like an NFL game, his defense was spot on because he didn't get finished. His offense just lacked. So I don't know. That's what I felt. George Murray says apparently Chanko was misheard as John Pork because of Islam's perfect attempt at the Queen's English. Oh, okay. Dylan wanted to fight Masvidal initially. The calf kicks sure got to JDM. Yeah, agreed. And Islam was doing a good job at chopping down the lead leg of JDM and trying to set up his high kick because he's very good with his left high kick. At least we now know Leon Edwards was a better champ than JDM. Oh man. Oh, you could say that. You know, I think that's the perfect excuse for anyone who tries to clown Leon Edwards in future. That's fair. But look, JDM wasn't the worst champ. He just got dished out Islam Makhachev, which was very unfortunate. Give him anyone else, would have been interesting to see if JDM successfully defends the belt. So he's been hard done by. Yeah, I like that. George Mace's go Jags. Well, you guys are doing well, man. You guys are doing well. But don't get too comfortable. I'm hoping that wildcard spot gets stolen at some point. Big Balls says, every fight I've seen of JDM, he always gets taken down. This result was bound to happen to him unless he pulled off a knockout or got a close decision. Yeah, he had to really knock out Makhachev. Let's be real. Like, Bilal just didn't have a good night that night. His control wasn't that great, and JDM was allowed to escape pretty easily. And what happened to JDM in this fight was kind of what I was expecting to happen in the Bilal fight. I put that fight down to Bilal having an off night, personally. So we'll see what Bilal Muhammad's able to do in future. Now, the thing I want to discuss first, before we get into some future matchups, is I want to ask you guys, which double champ did it best? Islam Makhachev or Ilia Topuria? Because you could argue, you can make some arguments for that. You could easily say that Ilia Topuria done it better because his run of, 3 straight knockout wins against Volk, who was a dominant featherweight for a long time. Then Max Holloway, who doesn't get knocked out. And then a legend and former champion in Charles Oliveira, who holds the record for like the most finishes in UFC history. Quote me, I might be wrong on that. I'm sure he's up there though, right? He's got, loads of accolades. So I think Ilia Topuria, I'm going with Topuria on that one, I'm afraid. For those reasons, Makhachev, reasons for Makhachev getting it would be, I guess, sheer dominance in his fight, but then Topuria still gets that as well. He did rack up some more title defenses than Topuria. Give him that. He won the belt off of Charles Oliveira, of course, a mutual opponent. Charles was on a bit of a tear and was a demon during that period. He was the champ. Makhachev also beat Volkanovski as well. So when you look, but then at the same time, what also goes against Islam is the fact that he fought a lot of guys who were stepping in on short notice, i.e. Renato Moicano. He was meant to fight Arman Sarukian, which I felt was his toughest matchup at lightweight. Justin Poirier was a full camp. He submitted him. Fair play. But Poirier, former interim champion, okay, he's just a bit of a fan favourite, really, isn't he? Volkanovski, the second time round, was on short notice. Volkanovski came off the couch after a couple of cans of Stella and got knocked out. The first fight against Volk was very, very, very competitive, and people could argue that Volk won that fight. But then the knock on to Poirier is, well, he fought Volk when Volk came off of that knockout. So, yeah. The Bobby Green fight was also a last-minute step-in as well. Let's go back to 2022, and so was the Dan Hooker one, I believe. So, yeah, you can make some valid arguments for both sides, but, yeah, I will side with Ilia Topuria, personally. Big Board says, I would say Islam because he beat a guy with a long winning streak. I guess, yeah, he was the first guy to... Yeah, Volk was the one. Yeah, valid. Big Boars says, and Islam already beaten Charles in his prime, while Ilya beat Charles much older after his championship run. Very good point to add, yep. How good is Dustin for giving out a tougher fight than JDM? Yeah, agreed. Part of that is probably because of Dustin, where Dustin trains, I think. American top team is full of killers, very talented guys across the board, wrestling, striking, and jiu-jitsu. And I think Dustin Poirier's jiu-jitsu is much better than Jack Della Maddalena's. So for that reason, yeah. Good point. George Murray says Dagestani grappling is different to Greco-Roman. Ilya hasn't felt that type of pressure. Agreed. And which then moves us on to what is next for Islam Makhachev. Because yes, you could say that Ilia Topuria could fight Makhachev at welterweight or lightweight. Lightweight less likely, I think, on the White House card, which some fans have been talking about. But it could be the biggest fight you could make in terms of two guys in their prime at the moment, two guys very popular in the organization, two guys are active as well. Because, yeah, okay, there's maybe bigger fights that you could make, name value wise. But these guys have not fought in forever. A John Jones, a Conor McGregor, blah. So, for me, I'd be more excited to see Makhachev versus Topuria. But at the same time, do you think Topuria should defend the lightweight belt first? Probably. Does timing match up? Maybe. Is Makhachev not too big for Topuria, especially if the fight was made at welterweight? I think so, personally. So yeah, for that reason, I'm not too looking forward to it, and I think Makhachev should be given fights that are much more closer, in my opinion. Big Balls says Bryce Mitchell was able to control Ilya for a bit. True. That's very true. Bryce Mitchell can do that, then what's Islam going to do? Who's going to be much bigger? MVP of the year, George, says Sai. Ilya should move to 170 after he clears more names. Paddy, Arman, Justin, BSD. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Big Balls, personally. I don't think we're ready for Topuria versus Islam. As much as like it's a kind of a dream fight at this stage, I don't know. I don't think it'll ever happen though. I don't think it will ever happen. It'd be great, it'd be exciting. It deserves a lot of hype. But I'm not too sure. Yeah, I've just had one super fight and I'm already ready for another one. Ilia Topuria is a must, says Sai. So it's more likely that Ilya will be a 3-division champ. Is that what you're saying? Well, yeah, it is. Kind of is. It leads on to the kind of main topic of tonight is, can Islam Makhachev be a 3-weight champ? I think he can. Ilya, less likely to achieve it, though. I think Ilya could most likely... I don't know. That's the thing. We're talking about Ilya Taporia, and I'm only talking about it because I see it more online. But I think there's a much more intriguing matchup ahead for Islam Makhachev. There's much harder fights, stylistically, than Ilya Taporia. And I believe that, due to size being a factor. I'd like to see Makhachev fight someone a lot bigger. I would like to see him fight Khamzat Chimaev. You can't tell me that Khamzat Chimaev versus Islam Makhachev is the most intriguing fight you could make for Islam Makhachev. If there was a fight that you could pick out and say that he loses to, it could be Khamzat at middleweight. I think it's so close. Now, of course, on the other hand, if you're not going to give him that fight yet, you've got Shavkat Rakhmonov in this division who's undefeated. This has to be the next move, though, realistically, for the UFC. You know, they're not going to keep making people move up in weight for belts. I can't see it for Islam just yet. You know, I think it could get a bit silly. Unless, who knows? The UFC have signed this deal with Paramount. We could be in for a crazy year. They might just sort of bend their own rules a little bit and make different things happen. Give people the most exciting fights possible. Heck, we might even get Islam Makhachev at heavyweight that someday. You just never know. They might start running things a bit more for entertainment value. Because I think maybe perhaps they do need to do that. So that's another thing. And to be honest, as it stands, heading into 2026, looking at what's realistic, I don't really want to see any other fight for Islam unless it is Shavkat Rakhmonov. But I've also said that I wouldn't mind seeing Shavkat heading up to middleweight. Because maybe, I don't know. I know I've said that before. But now that Islam actually has got the belt, I'm starting to rein that in a little bit. I only said that after Khamzat beat Dricus du Plessis because I just can't see anyone beating Chimaev at middleweight. And Shavkat Rakhmonov surely needs to come back from injury and get into a title fight. And timing-wise, with Makhachev, probably doesn't add up. I don't know. Yeah. If DDP was still champ, I think Islam would beat him. I think that, yeah, DDP against Islam would be fun. Imagine Ilya versus Morales or Pratis. Yeah, I can't. They're massive. Like, they are huge. Okay, maybe those guys have got more of a chance of knocking Islam Makhachev out than Jack Della Maddalena, which, yeah, it's intriguing in this weight class, I guess. But I'm not really... I would still want to see Shavkat Rakhmonov fight for a belt. So, yeah, I can't imagine that. Shavkat versus Islam looks close, so big boars. Oh, I reckon they are nasty fights for him, big boars. Ilya had 3 fights at lightweight before moving up. Justin, Paddy, and Arman or Hooker. Yeah, all over that, George. I think it's basically Big Boar said the same. The more likely situation is they do Usman versus Islam, even though Usman doesn't really deserve, but he is a former champ. He is a former champ. Now, I personally, right, would give Jack Della Maddalena Kamaru Usman because I think Kamaru Usman needs one more fight before he gets given a title fight. Now, as earlier I mentioned, Ali Abdulaziz desperately wants both of his clients to fight for a belt someday. You know, he's literally shoved his hand up Islam's arsehole and used him as a puppet throughout fight week and during the post-fight interview to name drop Usman. To try and get fans excited for it. Try and get the UFC to kind of make it. But it doesn't make sense for Usman. Just fought Joaquin Buckley, who was made all the way down in the rankings. All right, yes, he was on a bit of a run. But he's not fought anyone in the top 5. And he's not been very active for a long time as Usman. So for that reason, I would like to see him fight a Jack Della Maddalena. Beating Jack could help him secure a title fight. But we just need to see a more active Kamaru Usman in 2026. Like, imagine if he gets granted a title fight. Like, this would be Ali Abdulaziz's doing. Like, Ali Abdulaziz must just literally arse-lick Dana and Hunter. Like, maybe that we need to discover that. Maybe we need to look into that. Like, how many of his clients have been given fights that they don't deserve? Because, look, Usman, not too long ago, was on a 3-fight losing skid after losing to Leon Edwards. He lost twice to Leon Edwards, then he lost to Hamzat. Both, okay, the last 2 were majority decisions, okay, before beating Joaquin Buckley, which was June this year. He's only didn't fight once at all in 2024. So we're going to see more activity from him. Sai says, does Makhachev stick it out or go back down? Islam versus Topuria will be special occasion card. Think about how big the promo will be. I mean, I'd hope it gets a good promo, but the UFC have been lacking their promos, in my opinion. We've not seen promos since the prime Conor McGregor days. They got plenty excuses to run it in the next 7 months. Well, look, I don't think Islam is going back down to lightweight. It's not happening. He was murdering himself to get down to lightweight. Now he's put on some extra muscle mass. He's staying at welterweight. So Topuria's got to move up. Topuria's got to move up once again if he wants to fight Islam. George Murray says, but with the argument, will you give Bilal another off a loss, Leon? I don't know. No. They got Usman ranked ahead of Leon despite him losing to him twice. Yeah, do you know what? Yeah. Do you know what? Yeah. Let's look at that, because I didn't even see that earlier on. I didn't see it. Oh, whoops. Oh, what am I doing? Ah. What have I done here? I don't know what I've done here. Ticker, extensions, window captures off, background. Nope. What have I enabled here? There we go. Weird. Yeah, so, as I was saying, yeah, Usman at 8, Leon Edwards at 9. Oh, come on, man. Come on. Like, why have they, like, this is getting ridiculous now. The guys who do the rankings, just not even giving any thought to anything. Dropping Leon down at 9 is criminal. Like, again, man. He's the guy. He's looking at future fights to make. Like, either way, people. If the UFC make Usman the next title fight for Islam, people are going to complain, and it's almost like when Sean O'Malley defended it against Chito Vera. Like, come on, what are you doing? Oh, like, just because we want Islam Makhachev to fight a former champion, like one of the best welterweights to ever do it. All right, that kind of sells it, but let's just look at Usman and just how active he's been lately. Do you know what I mean? Paddy has been asking for the Ilya fight and nothing has happened yet. True. That is very true. Yeah, I'm very surprised that fight has not been made. There was a lot of talk around it for quite some time. Uh, will Ilya return in February? I mean, there was also maybe talk of rematching Volk, but doing it at lightweight. I don't know. Maybe. But the Paddy option is probably most likely. Let's be real here. Yeah, I'd imagine that fight happens. And then if that fight happens and Paddy wins, then we're getting Paddy against Makhachev. Because Paddy is a big boy, and Paddy at welterweight makes a lot of sense. So yeah. Yeah, Usman above Leon is a violation. Big boards. Yep. For sure. All right, cool. I think we're basically there. That basically wraps up the future matchups then. Smash like on the video if you've not done so already. Time is ticking on. We've been going on for quite some time. So let's just clear that. And let's talk about then the huge update that we've got for Conor McGregor's return. Now, Coach Kavanagh, Conor's coach, was speaking to Ariel Helwani yesterday, and he said, on our end, we're 100% in. He's asked me to basically lay out a program between now and June on how we'll ramp up our training. He's showing up again. He's back in the gym most mornings early. He's having fun with it. He's already tasked me with putting together a team of suitable training partners. He's fully locked in, and we're gonna be making the walk. If it's Conor's choice, he's in. So, guys, do you feel more confident that we'll see him return in 2026 after hearing that? Or do you think he'll get himself into trouble again, is the questions we want to be asking ourselves. I am feeling a little bit more confident it's going to happen, but will the UFC put him on the White House card is the question. Because if you put him on the White House card, you got to have a belt on the line. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Surely it's a BMF belt against Max Holloway. That is the only real option, because doing the Chandler fight at the White House card, I'm now no longer interested in this White House card. Like, viewers might as well just turn on their TVs to see what the arena looks like, see it outside the White House and all that, and all the fancy cameras flashing, and then just turn off before the main event. Because let's be real, that fight should have happened ages ago. It was longed out. It never happened. Conor got injured. Blah, 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 blah. Got into some trouble in a nightclub for potential sexual harassment or rape, whatever it was. Was on a massive coke bender. Never trained. Got juiced to the gills. Since then, he's gone to rehab, clearly, but no one's reporting it. And maybe he is getting himself back together again. So I am feeling confident about it. I really am. Will he get himself into trouble again? Let's pray and let's hope not. If he does, he really is like a John Jones type of figure, really, isn't he, at the end of the day? And with the UFC, how do you constantly trust him? How do you do it? How is D-Rod even ranked? D-Rod's had some good wins, man, for sure. Merlot was ranked, beating Holland. Now he's gone already. How long will we have to wait for Chandler versus Conor? Seems like an eternity. It's been like 3 years. Might not be Chandler, says Sai. Absolutely. If Conor can't fight, might as well give BSD to Chandler, USA versus France. We said that as well. We've said that as well. In fact, we said that before Benoit Saint-Denis got paired up against probably against Rufy, to be fair. Oh no, it was after the Rufy fight, I think. We said give him Chandler. Yeah, no, BSD shouldn't have fought Dariush at the weekend. He should have fought Chandler. I liked BSD Chandler a lot, says Sai. I'm all in for it. All in for it. So yeah, that's my take on that. Now, before we get into the whole brawl situation, I want to go a little bit off topic here. Zero this out. Well, a little bit off topic. Here's one fighter the UFC should sign that no one is talking about. No one's talking about this fighter, but they absolutely should sign him. Hands down, without a doubt. His name is Brown Penis. Brown Penis. His name is Brown Penis. He's 5-0. He's a professional. I mean, like, imagine that. Like, your winner by knockout, Brown Penis. Imagine commentary being like, Penis is tough. He's got long reach, hard to keep down, and very durable. Like, oh, dude, his name is Brown Penis. Oh, no. Like, the UFC need to sign this guy for bants, honestly. But look, guys, I promise you, it gets better than that. It does get better than that. Trust me. Because who are you going to give him in his UFC debut? Give him this guy. Gerardo Fanny. Penis versus Fanny. Oh God, I'm such a child. I'm such a child. I just happened to see today. Oh, I spotted it in a comment on X. Brown Penis. I just couldn't believe that such a fighter exists. Like, Big Boss, what a name. Size cracking up. There was a guy on Contender Series named Damian Penis. Yeah, that's where that came from. I saw a post about Damian Penis and I was like, no way is the commentary saying penis. And I was shocked. And then I looked into the comments and someone actually posted a guy called Brown Penis. And I was like, no, this is even better. Like, sign them both up, man. I can't wait. Did that guy get signed on Contender Series? Because I don't watch Contender Series. Sai says, imagine getting choked out by Brown Penis. Oh dear. No, stop it. Damien did get sucked. He got a knockout with. Oh yes. I can't wait for Damian Penis's his debut, man. Just is he related to Brown Penis, I wonder? Where was Damien from? Was he from the Netherlands? I mean, look, the Netherlands have got some good names. Clearly, the UFC need to sign some more Dutch fighters. Oh, but yeah, that tickled me earlier. I had to add it into the show. Oh, dear. Oh, he's from Aruba. Okay, yeah, they're not related. I'm dead, bro. Oh, I don't know how we can recover from that. I should have really ended on that one, to be fair. But we was having a good time. All right, let's get into then the last thing, which was the brawl that took place at UFC 322 in the stands. Now, Dana says that he was at fault for the brawl happening. Dylan Dennis is involved, of course. He's involved. It was with John Pork as well. Dana said that that Dennis was moving around, sitting in fighters' seats the whole time. And he decided to get him moved, because Masvidal apparently said that he was going to fuck him up on site. And instead, the whole of Islam's team ended up fucking up Dylan Dennis in the process. And Dana also mentioned in the post-fight press conference that he would never sign Dylan Dennis at all, which is quite ironic because I feel that the guy acts like Conor McGregor, but he's an absolute weasel at the same time. And in this clip, look, what is that shoe? Like, what is those pair of shoes that he's got? Because they literally look like Mickey Mouse's shoes. Bro stole them from Mickey Mouse. Do you know what I mean? Like, who wears them? This looks like a cartoon character's shoes. Yeah, like Dylan Dennis is the fundamental, like he's the boy who cried wolf in the MMA scene. He really is. Like, he just talks the talk, abuses people, and just embarrasses himself. Like, yeah, he's got problems. He's got problems. And I don't know, I kind of wanted the UFC to sign him at one point, but maybe he'll just cause the UFC more and more problems, I guess. Dylan always gets in a brawl, says Big Balls. He does. That's the thing. John Paul got the TKO win. Yeah, you can clearly see there, I think. It's very hard to see. There's just a lot of commotion, a lot of bodies all over the place. Look at that shoe, man. Look at that shoe. Oh, and he gets beaten up every single time as well. Dylan got a Misfits MMA fight coming up, and this is what he does. Yeah. I mean, it gets people talking about him, I guess, but that's literally his whole gig. He starts fights in crowds, gets people talking about him. He's abuses to Logan Paul, his wife, and just goes mad. Yeah, promo, exactly. But it's just a shame, really. Look at him, the clobber, the shots at the back of the head there as well. Like, super necessary. No referees complaining there. You'd wish he was talented to do it another way. Yeah, man, exactly, yeah. No, I'm completely with you on that. Like, he's kind of wasted, like, some good years. Maybe he could have been a really good MMA fighter if he was disciplined and stayed at it, because apparently his jiu-jitsu is really good, even though he got choked out by a security guard. His striking is pretty woeful, but if he actually, he trains with Alex Pereira though. If he worked on it and was disciplined, maybe he would have been a decent fighter. The Khabib brawl was crazy with him. Yeah, that brawl would kind of put Dennis on the map, really. I mean, other than training with Conor McGregor, like, it's crazy. Like, his whole gig and his whole career came off of just training Conor McGregor in jiu-jitsu. Weird. But hey ho. But let's take ourselves back then. Let's wrap this up then, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Your guys' opinions are much appreciated as always. Loved your comments tonight. Smash a like on the video if you have not done so already. Hit the notifications bell as well. We got lots more content coming your way, including a very early watch along this weekend for UFC Qatar. We're likely to be live possibly for the prelims, but do stay up to date on our social media channels. Prelims are kicking off at 3 p.m. UK time, and I believe the main card is 6 p.m. UK time. So yeah, morning perhaps for you guys in the US. So wake up, get a coffee, whatnot, tune into the boys, and yeah, come hang out and watch some fights with us. We're excited to see you there, guys, there. All right, peace out, get some good rest, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao for now.